Are you constantly running out of breath while you're singing? Or maybe your experience is one where you're trying to sustain your notes while on stage and you're running out or grappling for breath? Or maybe you're having a difficulty even holding or increasing your volume and filling the room with your voice. Or maybe you're trying to sing on key. Well, this is the video for you. All of those things that you're going through, it don't need to be that way. I have so much value packed into this one video for you. It's going to transform your singing experience from one being one of pain to one of pleasure. My name is Curtis Jordan, and today we're going to be discussing one of the core pillars of vocal excellence, and that has all to do with better breathing. Now, we've seen a lot of singers on stage singing like bosses, not knowing that they're actually breathing like bosses. Why? Because your breathing directly affects your singing experience and what comes out of you. So let's learn to sing like bosses. And for us to sing like a boss, we have to understand. Let's break it down a little bit and understand how breathing directly affects your singing. Now, when you take air into your nostrils, it goes into your lungs and fills your lungs, and it also impacts what is happening on your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is that muscle that is right under your lungs that is responsible for the control of how your air goes through your entire system. When you breathe in, your diaphragm drops down. And when you breathe out, it lifts up and it pushes the air through your vocal cords and then out of your system. The control of that entire movement of air in and out is what literally affects or controls the sound of your voice or the sound of your notes that is coming out of your voice. And one of the things you want to keep in mind as we keep this conversation is understanding that breath is literally the fuel of your voice. Your breath is the fuel of your vocal cords. So if your vocal cords aren't getting sufficient air going through your system, you will not be able to hit the specific notes that you would want to hit. Different pitches require different amounts of air. So there are higher pitches that require higher amounts of airflow, and there are lower pitches that require lower amounts of airflow. So if it needs 100% of air for a higher note and you're only giving 50, your voice is going to sound very, very shaky, and more than likely you will be singing flat. And then if a song or note specifically might need, let's say, 20% of your airflow and you're giving 30, too much air is going through your vocal system and you sound breathy, or you even sound a little bit sharp because too much is happening. So there's so many things that are happening behind the scenes while you're on the mic. There's a lot happening behind the scenes, and for you to understand how this whole process works and then applying different techniques is going to be a whole different experience for you. So let's understand what is happening when we start to breathe correctly. First of all, we need to understand and know what happens. Now, I want you to take one hand. Now, this is a very practical class. Good day to everybody that is tuned in. It's very practical. I want you to take one hand and put it on your tummy and experience what is going to happen when you breathe in. We have some bad breathing techniques that we're going to talk about, and then some good techniques that I would like you to apply so that you could immediately feel a different result. So let's look at some bad techniques. Now, put your hand in the tummy and let's correct a bad technique. Sometimes when we are breathing in, there's something called a shallow breath that we take, which is not sufficient or good or recommended for singing, where when you breathe in, your shoulders go up and it's very short and shallow. That is not sufficient for you to be able to sustain a note. You would want to breathe very, very deeply, where you feel like your tummy is expanding outwards and even downwards. That now allows a lot of air to go in. And now when you're breathing out, there will be a great stream of air going out of your vocal cords. So just put your hand in the tummy and breathe in and feel the air going straight down inside. And then when you are exhaling, feel your tummy deflating. That is very, very important for you to do. Yeah, that is how the procedure should feel. It should feel very natural, that it goes in, your tummy goes outward. And then when you breathe out, your tummy goes inward. Again, there are bad techniques and then there are good breathing techniques. So let's look at the bad and then we will get into the good. So I mentioned before, shallow breath. We see that very, very common where people's shoulders and their chest is moving. Those should not be moving while you're singing at all. That's a bad breathing technique. Focus now on your tummy area or your diaphragm expanding when you are breathing and then contracting. Leave your shoulders. If you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing your shoulders raising or your chest raising, then you are doing the wrong technique. You want to ensure that your tummy area is doing all the work. Now, let's look at the good or the correct breathing technique. Correct breathing technique, as I mentioned earlier, is engaging or activating your diaphragm or your diaphragmatic breathing, or some people even call it belly breathing, to ensure that that is what is controlling the flow of air through your vocal cords and that you're not forcing it to happen. It's a very natural process. It's been happening since you're born. As a matter of fact, if you look at babies and you look at a baby sleeping or just laying down, their tummy will rise when they breathe in and it will contract when they breathe out. I'm not sure when we changed or shifted from that particular technique, but we want to stick to that when you breathe in, your tummy expands and then it deflates. That movement allows a lot of or sufficient air to go in, sufficient fuel, as we say, and then when you breathe out, it naturally goes through your vocal cords in a sustained and constant pattern. That is very, very important that and this is not just while you're talking, but also while you're singing. While you're on stage, you want to ensure that you are getting a full tank of gas, as we like to say, and that you are pushing forward or you're singing forward on your breath rather than trying to push the breath through your vocal cords. No, you want to have a full tank of gas when you are attacking those notes. Sometimes those notes are on top of a hill. What happens if the note that you're trying to attack is a high note requiring more air and you are half tank full? No, you want to ensure that you have a full tank of gas when you are breathing in and out. So let's correct some of those techniques, throw away the bad techniques and grab on to the correct techniques. Again, the correct way to be breathing is to ensure that you're breathing with the use of a diaphragm, filling the bottom of your lungs and then letting it out. Now, do a few of those exercises, breathing in and feel the movement of your tummy expanding and contracting when you have a chance. So you can pause the video and you can come right back into doing those exercises. Talking about exercises, we are going to do some live exercises right here to really activate your diaphragm to ensure that that is where all the movement is happening, that is where all the action is, and that you are in control of your diaphragm. If you are in control of your diaphragm, you will be in control of the flow of the air through your vocal cords, which will directly affect the quality of the notes that are coming forward. So some people, they think that they're a bad singer, they don't have a great voice, not knowing that they have bad breathing technique. So you see, from today, your vocal technique will directly be affected by your breathing technique. We're going to correct the breathing and watch our vocal technique and our vocal sound be transformed. So exercise number 1 we're going to attack is called the sustained sound. Exercise 1. The sustained sounds is like you're telling somebody to be quiet. So as I mentioned before, you're going to breathe in deeply with the correct breathing technique where your tummy is going to be expanded. So keep one hand on your tummy and put the next hand right here. And we're going to breathe in through your nostrils. And you're going to exhale on the ready and go. You got that? Let's go again. Breathe in and out. And as you hiss out, keep it going, keep it going. As you hiss out, let it be as consistent as possible, as clean and as sharp as a laser beam coming out. What you don't want to hear is you don't want that at all. You want to ensure that you have a clean and consistent as it goes out. So pause the video and do 10 of those and come right back. Great. Great to have you back. And we are going to go to exercise 2. We are going to go to our hissing sound. Now your hissing sound is going to go pretty much like this. Like you're saying the letter S now, not sh, but s. That one, you will definitely feel the engagement of your core while you're doing that one. So you're going to breathe in. And we are going, and if you could stand by a wall, it would be great. If you're sitting, that's going to be great. But again, you want a consistent hiss as best as possible. Ready? And go breathe in. Of course, the correct way. Breathe in through your nostrils, expand your core, and let's go with our hiss. That's what you want as long as possible. Pay close attention to what is happening at the ends of your hiss. You don't want a really broken up, or that you started to get very shaky, or you're compromising the quality of your hiss because you're running out of breath. Try to keep that hiss going as long as you can. Pause the video and do 10 of those and come right back. I tell you, if you keep doing these exercises every day, you're going to encourage a stronger core and better control over your diaphragmatic muscles, which will right away impact the quality of the notes that are coming out of your voice. People are going to recognize an immediate change if you really engage these exercises. Let's go to exercise 3. And this one is called the panting dog exercise. I'm not sure if you've heard this one. It literally goes like this. Just like a dog. So you do those exercises. You do that for maybe a few seconds, maybe 5 seconds. And then after that, then you hold out a note like this. Ha. So you go. Ha. Now, when you are singing a real song, you don't have time to breathe as much as we are doing it now. So doing the panting dog exercise kind of mimics what actually happens in a real singing situation, where a lot of vocal exercise or activity and a lot of breathing activity is happening before you actually hit a note. So you might sing line 1 and get to breathe, and then sing line 2 and you need to execute spot on. So doing exercises like this one with the panting dog and then going straight into a ha or an ah or who or ooh, all of those things help you to look at the integrity of your notes after doing heavy vocal activity. What can also work is if you could run on a treadmill and try to do some ah, eh, e, o, u kinds of notes, you would really understand, can I just sing great when it's just one word or 2 words or 1 line? Or am I still great after singing 1 song, 2 songs, or 3 songs? That's where it really matters. Where you can sing pleasurable for 3 and 4 songs rather than feel like you're fighting up with the song. Talking about fighting up with the song, sometimes we practice a lot of breathing, but when it's time to apply it and marry it with singing, that is where the difficulty happens. And I have a few tips for you that would help you be better in a real life scenario. Breathing great and singing great at the same time, knowing when to breathe. Sometimes we are actually breathing in the wrong places at the wrong times. Sometimes we are breathing too early, or sometimes you're breathing between the phrases too much. So tip number 1 is exhale slowly while you sing. So while you're actually doing your song, make sure that not too much of the air is falling out or flowing out at the beginning of your sentences, leaving no air for the end. Now, one of the exercises that can help you with ensuring that you still have sufficient breath for the entire pieces is a simple counting exercise that goes like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. If you can go up to 13 and then change the key, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and you can change the key again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and you can keep going up. And try to ensure that you have sufficient breath for the entire amount of numbers that you choose. So you can go to 12 if that could work for you, and then push it to 14, that you're still able to sustain great notes regardless of the key that you're on. And then maybe push the singing to 17 numbers, and then go to 20 numbers, and try to see if you can still have great quality lines even as your keys change. Yeah, that type of exercise will ensure or will practice your breath management, where you have great breathing at the beginning of the sentences and you have great breathing at the ends of each line. That is really, really important as you improve your breathing. Now, breath control is another important aspect of the whole picture. Now, breath control really involves regulating your notes, where you know when to push and you know when to pull back on your breathing. Again, when you are supposed to push a little more on the higher notes, push a little more, and when you are singing on the lower notes, you hold back your air a little more. That's very, very important that you know. You don't want to hold back on high notes because it requires more airflow. And then, of course, you're pushing too much on the low notes. It's the other way around, that you push a little more on the higher notes and you pull back a little more on the lower notes. That is very, very important as you get better with your breathing control. Now, tip number 3 to help you better your breathing is incorporate breaths into your song, knowing exactly when and where to breathe. Sometimes you have to pay close attention to the words before you coming on the first sentence. And then you can actually write out the lyrics of the song and mark out where you are going to breathe. Put a little X here. After the first 3 words, I'm going to breathe here. And then after the next set of words, you breathe again. And then while you're practicing this song, practice breathing where you put your breath points. Now, when you do that and you take away the paper and you go live on stage, it becomes so much easier because your system is already accustomed breathing in particular places. So then, therefore, you don't need to remember to breathe in specific places, and your body would not take breaths in the wrong places, messing up the flow of how you are singing. So again, practice putting in and incorporating your breaths within the lyrics of the song, that you breathe in the correct places at the correct time, making sure you have enough fuel to hit particular notes and so on. Now, another important tip that you want to grab is breathing within the phrases. Now, sometimes you breathe within the phrases. You should breathe before the phrasing and after the phrasing. So if your line is, I am not forgotten, breathe. I am not forgotten, breathe. I am not forgotten, breathe. God knows my name. Knowing when to breathe between the phrases is important. You don't want to go, I am not forgotten. I am not forgotten. I am. No. You want to breathe in the correct places between the phrases, not inside of the middle of the words, but make sure that you're breathing outside of the phrases where you get great quality phrases and not interrupted by breathing. And my last tip is tip number 5. Relax. Sometimes we think we're relaxed, but we are not relaxed. Let me show you something. Just drop your shoulders. You will realize that your shoulders are tense. Just drop your shoulders. Just relax your shoulders a little bit. And you'll realize, wait a minute, I didn't even know that my shoulders was tense. And that literally affects your ability to produce your notes. Just drop your shoulders, relax yourself. You are not, it's not going to make you be a better singer by being tense. Take it down, take it easy, make it something very pleasurable. Relax your neck, and let singing be something pleasurable and not you trying to ensure that you don't make mistakes. Singing is not trying to ensure that you don't make mistakes. Let that experience be one of the past. Singing is you communicating a beautiful message through various notes, keys, and phrases, and of course, words. That is it. You telling a story. That's you painting a picture that people are really, engrossed in. That you take people out of their world for 5 minutes. That is that is the beauty of singing. That is the beauty of singing. And you can't do that when you are stressed throughout the entire performance. The listener is going to hear your stress and they're going to be saying the same thing you're saying. Oh gosh, I can't wait for them to finish this song, boy. They're looking like they're under pressure. Don't let that be your experience. Let your experience be one that is pleasurable while people watch you on stage and say, wow, this person just looks like they enjoy this. It looks like it is just magical that they're able to produce these kinds of notes. That is what I want your experience singing to be like. Take those tips, run with those tips, apply them immediately, and you're going to get immediate results. Again, understanding your breathing system, just for a recap, understanding what is happening in your breathing system is very, very critical for you to be able to sing better. Understanding how your diaphragm is incorporated within the entire process, how that controls the air going through your vocal cords is so important. How bad breath technique could be throwing you off, and how not applying great techniques could be holding you back. It's so important when it comes to really delivering well. And of course, I mentioned a whole bunch of tips and tricks that's going to help you be better and sing like a boss. We watch people singing like bosses on TV, not knowing that they're breathing like bosses. I want you to focus on breathing like a boss in order to sing like a boss. Don't try to sing like a boss before you're breathing like a boss. Hope that all these tips and tricks helped you. Don't forget, you can like, subscribe right here on this channel. Some of you might be listening to this on a podcast. You might be listening to this live. Wherever you are, I hope this gave you a lot of value and that you're going to be around as we discuss so many different core value or core pillars of vocal excellence. Today, again, we were specifically focusing on better breathing. Become a boss at breathing. There's so much more I have in store for you. Stick around with me. I'm going to be with you. I'm Curtis Jordan. I'm going to be with you along your singing journey for life. Stick and stay, guys. See you in the next video.